Radical.
Welcome to Flea Market Stories, documenting one man's journey into the world of flea marketing. Starting off, I got there, maybe around 8:30, but it wasn't that busy, so I was able to pull in my spot quite easy. And I say my spot, but it wasn't my normal spot, which is okay, because I had a great sales day at that spot. Now, what I call as a great sales day is anything in the 3-digit range. Anything in the 3 digits. So I'm there for maybe 5 hours. And I wasn't even aggressive in trying to do the sales. I wasn't aggressive today. I was just more laid back. In fact, a lot of the beginning of the day I spent while people were looking through my stuff reading one of the best comic series of all time, ever made. And what many hail is the best Batman series. The 4-book miniseries, The Dark Knight Returns. Now, I had never read this series. I had heard it was great. I read book 1, and I was not disappointed. I'm not going to go into how influential this book is, but for means of trying to sell it, I went into it for people. I didn't get a sale on it today, but some people were interested. It's a 3rd printing of book 1, and it's not in perfect condition. There's some minor defects, nothing too crazy though, and I was asking $20 for it. Now, of that 20, I think only 5 will go to the person that dropped it off. A buddy of mine that dropped off, I think he dropped off the Yu-Gi-Oh cards a while back. He dropped off some other things, and the deal is I pretty much make what I can of it, and I give him what he wants from it. And he wants, for the Batman, $5. I'm sure I'll get more than that, even though it's a 3rd printing, not the 1st printing. Hell, if you have a 1st printing, very fine to mint, Legend of the Dark Knight, you've got some money right there. And he also dropped off a stack of old newspapers. Not just any old newspapers. JFK assassination, Nixon resigning, 9/11, some key newspapers. And all of them were not in great condition. But still, there's some from the early 1900s and 2 London papers from the 1800s. I already sold those. So I told him, man, you're definitely going to get some money for this. Now, going into some of the sales, I wound up selling a good bit to vendors. I sold a hand vac to a vendor across from me. I sold some buckets to the bucket lady for $2. And I went over and I showed her some cologne. She already had one of the men's colognes, Nautica Blue. But I think it was a knockoff Nautica Blue because it looked a little bit different. In fact, I think a lot of what she had on the table was knockoffs. Now, her English is very limited, so making sales with her is a little difficult. So I had to talk in terms of money. She understood me, but I really couldn't understand her that much. Now, I had this one cologne, Mont Blanc Individuel. I love Mont Blanc's colognes. Really wasn't feeling this one though. I have one of them I returned back and got a return on that. And I paid $20. I was asking for $20, but I gave it to her for $15. And she was reasonably happy enough with that. She asked me if it was authentic, real, and I said, yes, that is not a knockoff. It is authentic. It is real. I sold some DVDs. I sold my Scarface, The World Is Yours, Platinum Edition. I had a Platinum Edition of that DVD. I sold that one, and I threw in iRobot. In fact, this guy, I think he bought some other stuff from me, and, when you buy more stuff from me, I tell him, straight up, you're going to get some deals. Now, there was a situation with one of the games, WWE2K17, and I did the right thing. I did not sell WWE 2K17. I forget where I acquired this one. I think it might have been a GameStop special, like one of those cheapos from GameStop. And I got it maybe a couple months back. I could have sold it, but the corner, it looked like a bit of the corner was eaten away. And I don't know if a game uses 100% of the disc from inside to outside, but I was not going to take that chance. So this one dude came up, and he was going to buy it, but he had to go back and get some money. And I said, you know what? By the time he gets back, it would be good on me to actually check this disc. And he came back. I said, here's the deal. Some good news and some bad news. Bad news is this disc might not work, just to be 100% honest, because I hadn't tested that particular disc. Good news is you're getting this for free. And I suggest if you want 2K16, because you came back, how about I do that half off, $5. I did 2K16, $5, and this other one, for free. Now, what I paid for them was around $5, so, I didn't really lose any money from that sale. I did not. Now, as far as sales, it was a good sales day. I'm not going to go over every single sale. I sold a couple buckets. Not all my buckets. Buckets are always a solid seller. My big buyer, I was a little let down because he only bought $7 worth of stuff. I thought I could maybe push some more, but I did sell him 5 foil Dragon Ball Z cards. They're like Pokemon. 5 of the foil ones. I'm not sure what their worth is, but I said $5 for those. And he wanted a Massimo hat. The hat I paid $2 for, and I had 3 on it, so I gave it that at cost. $2 for the hat and $5 for that. So I took a gamble too. I took a gamble knowing that he wanted Pokemon cards. Knowing everybody wanted Pokemon cards. Took a gamble, went to a shop. He had a long box full of common Pokemon cards. I think there might have been 1 foil in there. I paid $5, got $5 worth, 5 for $1. So I have 25 Pokemon cards. A couple people looked at them, but I could not sell those. But it's okay. It's okay. I got a plan. I got a Pokemon book I'm going to link them up with and sell the cards and the book for $10. So that's going to be a combo sale. There's more to talk about, but I just want to spend some moments talking about this. Towards the end, there will be some accompanying audio in a secondary upload. I'm not sure when I'm going to get it uploaded, but I met Tanya and Mary. Tanya and Mary were reasonably attractive. Not super attractive. Tanya had a very nice midriff. Very nice body. I'm not going to get into details and specifics, but I just couldn't stop looking at her tummy. She had a gorgeous freaking tummy. I just never been so enamored with someone's tummy before. It's just adorable. I don't know, what you call a tummy, but she was hot as far as the body. Gosh, I sound so mean when and judgmental, but I just go with my thoughts, right? So that's what I do here, and I hope some of you are not offended, female specifically. Men, we judge you in varieties of ways, but me, I'm just very visual. I judge women visually, no apologies for that. She had a nice, quirky, upbeat personality, as you will hear in the audio, and she was with a friend of hers. I don't think they were dykes. I didn't see any wedding rings. I didn't think they were dykes. They might be. I'm not sure. But could be funner if that's the case. Could be. And I had to go get some food here, but I'm gonna park while I finish this out. So just give me 1 second while I park. Okay. So we'll finish this one out here. All right. Gonna take up 2 parking spots in my Impala here. I talked to the other one, and I was quick to compliment the tattoos of the one. It's always a good conversation. That branches off to different paths. Hey, where'd you get it done? Okay, is that your favorite tattoo? And sometimes if you get lucky, they might show some more skin and show you more tattoos. So it's a winner whenever there's tattoos or piercings or whatnot. It's always a great conversation opener. But I was actually more interested in her friend, because her friend, at first I saw her friend go by the table. Her friend was really short, and I was confused. I was like, is that a little girl or a woman? I was confused. She was maybe 5 foot tall. But I was noticing the way she was walking was more like a woman, not like a energetic, peppy child. And she must have had some kind of a condition to where she maybe dwarfism or something. I don't know. But, she definitely was reasonably attractive. I didn't see her body from the bottom down. She was kind of skinny. But she did have the bosoms. She did. Not a whole lot. Actually, to be honest, she had kind of a bird chest. But still, I'm a lover of boobs of all shapes and sizes. And she had them on display. Even though she had the bird chest, she had some cleavage out. And at one point, she bent over forward a little bit. And I almost, like, what was that thing Dave Chappelle said? Come on, titty! Come on, titty! I didn't want to be obvious. I didn't want to, lean forward to look down. She might have noticed that she was showing off a little bit more, though, because she started, like, folding her arms a little bit, and she smiled a little bit, so I don't know. Sometimes women know. I mean, how you going to leave the house and not know you ain't wearing no brassiere?